still remember the exact
Never
moment,
stop
even though I
loving you.
wish I didn't. It wasn't dramatic, no music, no shouting, just a look. We were sitting across from each other, close enough to hear each other breathe, but far enough to pretend nothing was happening. I thought it was just another ordinary night, one of those moments you forget the next morning. I was wrong. She tilted her head slightly, studying my face like she was deciding something she'd been thinking about for a long time. Her fingers traced the edge of the glass in front of her, slow and deliberate. Then she looked straight at me, not casually, not playfully, seriously. And that's when she said it, not loudly, not softly either, just enough for me to hear. That sentence didn't echo in the room. It echoed in me. I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. My brain was trying to catch up with what my heart already understood. That whatever this was, it wasn't going back to normal. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because that's what you do when you're cornered by the truth. She didn't laugh back. That's how I knew she meant it. The air between us changed. You know that feeling? When silence stops being empty and starts being heavy. When every second feels like a decision you're making without speaking. I asked her if she was serious. She didn't respond with words. She just held my gaze. And suddenly, all the moments I'd ignored started lining up in my head. The lingering looks, the unnecessary touches, the way she always found reasons to stay just a little longer. I told myself I was imagining it. I wasn't. She leaned back, crossed her arms and said, "I didn't plan to say that tonight." That somehow made it worse, because planned mistakes are easier to handle than honest ones. I asked her why now. She smiled, not the confident smile, but the nervous one people wear when they're afraid of the answer they might get. "Because if I don't say it," she replied, "I'll keep pretending this is nothing." Nothing. That word hit harder than the sentence before it. I looked away, trying to organize my thoughts, but my mind kept jumping to one question I didn't want to ask. What happens after this? She answered it without me saying a word. "Whatever you say next," she whispered, "is going to change everything." I wanted to slow time down, to go back 5 minutes earlier, when this was just a quiet night and not a crossroads. Instead, I said the first honest thing that came to mind. "I think you already changed it." Her breath caught for just a second. Barely noticeable, but I saw it. She stood up, pacing a few steps away like the space might protect her from whatever came next. I could tell she was bracing herself, preparing for rejection, relief, or something in between. "You don't have to decide anything," she said quickly. "I just needed you to know." But that was the problem. Now I did know. Once you hear something like that, you don't unhear it. It follows you into the silence, into the next conversation, into every what if you didn't ask for. I told her to sit back down. She hesitated. That hesitation said more than any confession could. When she finally sat, we were closer than before. Not physically, but emotionally. The walls were gone. No jokes left to hide behind. I asked her how long she'd felt this way. She looked down, then back up. Longer than I should have. There it was again. That quiet honesty that feels heavier than anger. We talked for a while after that. Not about us exactly, but around it. Like two people circling a fire, aware of the heat but unsure whether to step closer. At some point she checked the time and stood up. "I should go," she said. I nodded, even though part of me didn't want her to. At the door she paused, her hand on the handle, her back to me. "I meant what I said," she added. "I just don't know what it means yet." Then she left. The door clicked shut, and the room felt bigger than before. Too quiet, too empty. I didn't sleep much that night, because now every memory had a different meaning. Every interaction replayed itself, asking questions I wasn't ready to answer. She looked at me and said something simple, but I knew it in that moment. Nothing would ever be the same. I thought time would dull it, that if I gave it a day, maybe two, the weight of her words would soften. Maybe they'd turn into just another memory. Something vague, something I could shrug off when it crossed my mind. It didn't. The next morning, I woke up with that sentence still sitting in my chest, heavy and unresolved. I replayed the moment over and over, trying to hear it differently, trying to imagine a version where she didn't mean it the way I knew she did, but every replay ended the same way, with that look. We didn't talk for the rest of the day. No messages, no calls. That silence felt louder than the conversation itself. I checked my phone more times than I'd admit, not because I expected a message, but because I didn't know what I'd do if one came. By the evening, I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't waiting for clarity. I was waiting for permission. Permission to feel whatever this was becoming. The second day was worse. Every normal thing felt off. Conversations with other people felt shallow, like I was pretending to be present while my mind stayed somewhere else. I caught myself imagining how she would have reacted to small things, a joke, a comment, a passing moment. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about what she said. It was about what I hadn't said back. I kept thinking about her hesitation at the door, the way her voice steadied herself when she said she didn't know what it meant yet. That wasn't confidence, that was vulnerability, and vulnerability sticks with you. That night, I finally sent a message. Nothing dramatic, nothing revealing. Just, "Are you okay?" The response came almost instantly. "I was hoping you'd ask." My heart sank, not from fear, but from recognition. That feeling of knowing you're stepping back into something unfinished. We agreed to meet again. No expectations, no labels, just to talk. When I saw her, she looked different. Not physically, though I noticed small things I hadn't before, but emotionally. Like someone who had already crossed a line and was waiting to see if the other person would follow. We sat in the same place, different atmosphere. She didn't ease into it this time. "I've been thinking about what I said," she began. I nodded. "Me too." She took a breath. "I wasn't trying to change your life." I smiled faintly. "You didn't try. You did." That made her laugh, but it was brief, nervous, real. She told me she hadn't planned to say anything that night, that it had slipped out after weeks, months of holding it in, that pretending had started to feel heavier than the risk of honesty. "I didn't expect you to say anything back," she admitted. "I just needed to stop lying to myself." That word again, lying. I told her the truth then. Not everything, but enough. That I'd felt something too. That I just hadn't named it. That hearing it out loud forced me to confront feelings I'd been comfortably ignoring. She listened without interrupting, her expression unreadable. When I finished, she asked the question I'd been avoiding. "So what do we do now?" There it was. The moment everything balances on. I didn't have a perfect answer. I still don't. But I knew one thing for sure. We couldn't go back to pretending. I told her that whatever this was, it deserved honesty. Even if that honesty complicated things. Even if it didn't lead where either of us expected. She nodded slowly, like she'd already accepted that outcome. "I'd rather deal with complicated than wonder forever," she said. That was when I realized how similar we were in that moment. Two people standing at the edge of something undefined, more afraid of regret than consequence. We didn't make any big decisions that night. No dramatic promises, no clear direction. But something shifted. When we stood up to leave, she didn't hesitate this time. No pause at the door, no unfinished sentence, just a quiet understanding. As we walked away side by side, I felt it again. That awareness that life doesn't always change in explosions. Sometimes it changes in small, honest moments you don't recognize until later. She looked at me and said one thing, and I knew it then. Not because everything was clear, not because the future suddenly made sense, but because once someone tells you the truth, you can't go back to who you were before you heard it. Nothing would ever be the same.